You're watching Linktown TV.
What's up? You're watching Linktown TV. Thank you for tapping into another episode of BLACKUARY. Today, we got the brother Fred Hampton. Frederick Allen Hampton Sr. was born August 30th, 1948. Brother Fred is from the beautiful city of Chicago, Summit, Maywood, etc. Fred's Hampton parents were from Louisiana and were part of the Great Black Migration. During the Great Migration, an estimated 6 million black folk moved out of the rural areas in the South to cities in the North, mostly the West, the Midwest, and the Northeastern states. The Black Migration took place between 1910 and 1970. Throughout school, Fred Hampton was academically inclined and athletic. Fred Hampton had big dreams and big actions. As early as 10 years old, Fred Hampton was cooking breakfast for other kids in his neighborhood. As a young man, he'd be part of a breakfast program that fed 3,000 children a week. At Proveso East High School, Fred Hampton got politically active, protested, and led walkouts. Fred Hampton also stood out academically, athletically, and graduated from Proveso East High School in 1966. In that same year Fred Hampton graduated, he got into reading Che Guevara, Ho, and Mao, and he identified with the Third World socialist struggles. He urged peace in the Vietnam War and had empathy for North Vietnam. Brother Fred Hampton got active with the NAACP, the National Association for the Advancement of Colored People. Fred Hampton had a leadership position of the NAACP's West Suburban Branch's Youth Council. My favorite achievement from Fred Hampton during his time with the NAACP was recruiting 500 members to his youth group in an area of only 27,000 people. In 1968, Fred Hampton caught a robbery charge. Fred was accused of assaulting the ice cream man, taking the ice cream, and handing it out to the kids in the neighborhood. He was convicted in May 1969 and went to prison. His conviction and being charged in the first place is kind of shaky. Frank P. Wilderson III, in his memoir Incognito, a memoir of exile and apartheid, described Fred Hampton's arrest and conviction as some COINTELPRO type-ish. To disrupt the Black Panthers of Chicago by leveling up Trump charges. J. Edgar Hoover in his Federal Bureau of Investigation labeled Fred Hampton as a radical threat. Fred Hampton was deemed a threat because the FBI believed Fred Hampton's leadership and talent for communication made him a major threat among the Black Panther leaders. Bruh, let me stop tiptoeing. J. Edgar Hoover don't like black people. I got receipts. In the book FBI's by William J. Maxwell, he details the FBI surveillance of African American literature. J. Edgar Hoover led a campaign to neutralize Martin Luther King. J. Edgar Hoover's FBI birthed COINTELPRO. COINTELPRO is an abbreviation for Counterintelligence Program. COINTELPRO conducted covert and illegal operations. Illegal, like not legal, from at least 1956, and they say they stopped in 1971. COINTELPRO targeted feminist organizations, the Communist Party USA, anti-Vietnam organizer, activists in the civil rights and Black Power movements. J. Edgar Hoover even had a weird obsession of suppressing the so-called Black Messiah. The fear of the Black Messiah is why so many brothers and sisters fighting for equal rights were made martyrs and political prisoners. But back to Fred Hampton. In 1968, Fred Hampton parted ways with the NAACP and joined the Black Panther Party. Fred Hampton was one of Illinois chapter's original members. The Black Panther Party of Self-Defense was founded in Oakland, California by Huey P. Newton and Bobby Seale. The Chicago Panthers were immediately being monitored and surveilled by the FBI. Fred Hampton gave J. Edgar Hoover Black Messiah vibes, the emerging messiah who can unify and electrify. The FBI director, J. Edgar Hoover, considered the Black Panthers, quote, the greatest threat to the internal security of the country. From the first day during the Chicago Black Panthers Foundation, the FBI set a plan in motion. The FBI planted an informant next to Fred Hampton. The informant was William O'Neill, a young man who made a deal with J. Edgar Hoover after a stolen car, drinking under the influence, and a crash. William O'Neill would be used as a pawn by the FBI to assassinate the beloved Fred Hampton. On April 4th, 1969, Fred Hampton of the Black Panther Party, along with William Preacherman Fesperman from the Young Patriots organization and Jose Chacha Jimenez founder of the Young Lords, created an anti-racist, working-class, multicultural movement called the Rainbow Coalition. The Young Patriots were an American leftist organization of white Southerners from uptown Chicago. The Young Patriots were designed to support young white migrants from the Appalachian Mountain region who experienced poverty and discrimination. The Young Lords were predominantly Puerto Rican street gang turned civil rights and human rights proponents whose tactics included mass education, canvassing, community programs, jobs, and direct confrontation. The Rainbow Coalition helped local communities while working together towards internationalist and anti-capitalist goals. Fred Hampton once spoke on solidarity, stating, "We gotta face some facts, that the masses are poor, that the masses belong to what we call the lower class. And when I talk about the masses, I'm talking about the white masses. I'm talking about the black masses and the brown masses and the yellow masses too. We've got to face the fact that some people say you fight fire best with fire, but we say you put fire out best with water. We say you don't fight racism with racism. We're going to fight racism with solidarity. We say you don't fight capitalism with no black capitalism. You fight capitalism with socialism." By 1969, the federal informant William O'Neill had infiltrated the Illinois chapter of the Black Panther Party. By this time, William O'Neill manipulated Fred Hampton into believing they were friends, and William O'Neill was in charge of security the night of Fred Hampton's murder by the FBI and Chicago Police Department. It's believed William O'Neill drugged Fred Hampton and gave the FBI a floor plan or a layout of the apartment. The police would raid the apartment and execute both Fred Hampton and Mark Clark. It was confirmed Fred Hampton was never fully conscious and did not leave the bed when he was shot twice in the head at point-blank range. The state attorney, Edward Henneron, the Chicago police, and FBI began the cover-up. The assassination of Fred Hampton and Mark Clark were continued to be covered up. The truth would come out in open court that the FBI and Chicago police colluded to murder Fred Hampton, and there are public documents available showing memos and communications with instructions, directions, and information to destroy the Black Panther Party and other black movements. William O'Neill's role wouldn't be exposed until 1973. William O'Neill then entered the Witness Protection Program and was given a new identity. In 1984, he secretly returned back to Chicago. In 1989, William O'Neill was interviewed for a documentary series titled Eyes on the Prize about his informancy. January 15th, 1990, on the night of the first episode, William O'Neill committed suicide. His episode wouldn't air until a month after he took his own life. Fred Hampton was executed at the young age of 21. And again, I encourage you to do your independent research on Fred Hampton, COINTELPRO, and the Black Panther Party. Thank you again for tapping in. I send all my love to all the people